You're listening to Ecto Portal, a journey into the unknown with Anthony Anderson and Verna Wilson.
Mommy, have you seen my doll? I want my doll, Mommy.
Have you seen my doll, Mommy?
Hello, and welcome back to Ecto Portal. Once again, another journey into the unknown. I'm Anthony Anderson, your host, and I'm here with...
Verna Wilson,
my co-host. Oh, okay. Jinx. And also we have...
Linda Walker.
All right, and we have an interesting topic tonight, or guest, I should say. There's lots of interesting topics with this guest tonight, so that'll be a lot to talk about. All right, you know what time it is, Linda?
I know what time it is. It's time for
Paranormal News.
You got it. All right, what do you got for us?
Well, first thing, good evening, listeners. I got a really big news item that is big news item. Oh. So, if you're very familiar, if you're a big paranormal fan, and you've seen all the paranormal shows, you know, like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, there was another show that I really loved a lot. I was a huge fan.
Sesame Street?
My heart is crushed today completely. This guy named Ryan Bell. Buell. I always call him Bell.
Don't forget that you.
Bueller. Anyhow, he got arrested.
Yes, he did.
He's in jail. He's in jail in South Carolina, Florence, South Carolina. Allegedly, he is getting charged of 2 felonies for theft and...
Embezzlement. Had to be embezzlement,
and embezzlement, yeah. Well, the thing is that he was doing this paranormal tour. What was it called?
Oh, Voices of something? Voices of the Dead? Or?
Oh, yeah, Talking
Voices
to the Dead.
I think that's what it was called. Yeah.
Anyhow, so he was doing this big tour thing, and a lot of people spend a lot of money. He was doing it across the United States through Canada. Mm-hmm. And supposedly a lot of people spend a lot of money on tickets. I think they generated about $80,000 worth of tickets.
That's a lot of money. He
canceled every single show. Didn't show for the shows, nothing. So people wanted their money back. You know, if you cancel... That's right. And people wanted their money back. But somehow there's some kind of a mix-up. They were talking about PayPal. That people said, you know, because everybody paid their tickets through PayPal.
Right.
And if they wanted their tickets back and everything, it takes at least 45 days to get your money back.
And most people take your money and their event isn't going to happen for a couple, 2-3 months.
Right.
So by that time, it's too late to get your money back from PayPal. Mm-hmm. And I do know PayPal said they only take a fee, so they're not obligated to return it.
Right.
That whoever the recipient was still has it.
Somebody has it. Not only that, he also has an arrest warrant waiting to be extradited back in Pennsylvania.
Really? What's that one for?
I don't know. It doesn't say. They just said that they have a arrest warrant for him in Pennsylvania, too.
Wow, he's been busy.
So, yeah, he's been
Not
pretty
ghost
busy.
hunting,
well,
apparently.
you know, I was kind of shocked to see him doing a tour.
Shouldn't the money be in the PayPal account? Sorry.
It might be.
It might be.
But that still belongs to his account.
Yeah.
So
it's in his account.
Until the law subpoenas to get it, they can't touch it.
Right.
And PayPal can't give it back because it's not theirs.
Wait a minute, but he's responsible for giving it back. That's
Yes.
what I was
Of course
trying to say.
he's responsible
if
for
the money's
everything.
still in his
But
account.
that's why he was
yeah.
arrested, because he never did.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He kept it. In
Yeah,
his
he
PayPal
kept it.
account.
He-
seems rather strange that he would just keep it when it's still there.
Well,
Okay.
anyhow,
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised when I heard he was back on tour because several years ago he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And that's where they had to cancel his Paranormal State show. And then all of a sudden he appears and he said he's feeling fine. He's back in remission and everything.
I read further today that could have all been a complete lie.
Totally.
That
You know?
what happened was he started doing these events, taking the money,
Right.
and then he needed to vanish quick.
Right.
So I have cancer. He disappears
Boom.
off the scene. He made more. Obviously, must have made more than he did on the show doing events, and I'm sure
Then he
that's
came
true.
back around 2014, I think.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we met him. Me, Tommy, Shauna. We met him at the Marcadero. He had a tour with the Paranormal State in
wow.
a van,
Wow.
and he would stop in certain cities, and he would talk to whatever the paranormal groups were in the area. And we went down and sat with him.
Wow.
And Serge.
Yeah.
Serge actually is his partner in real life.
Well, I know that he admitted that he was bisexual.
Yeah, yeah. So they were together for a long time, but
I knew there was something
They were
about him
both
and
very, very
Serge.
nice. He did not really take to our we're not obsessed with demons and Jesus and God and the church. He was very church obsessed,
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
totally.
couldn't understand why we didn't think evil was demons and why we didn't just go pray to Jesus when we wanted to fix everything. And I
Yeah.
said, well, we don't need those tools. As
Right.
ghost hunters, you have to have your own set of tools to do it on your own.
Exactly.
And not everybody's going to have the same beliefs. So we were exchanging ideas
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. And it was a great conversation. He was very nice. So, I mean, Serge talked a little bit, not too much.
Yeah.
And that was it. And,
Right.
And then he just vanished. And then the cancer thing came up, and I never heard from him again. I know he had a book that came out.
Yeah, he came out with a book, and I think that's pretty much it. And then I've been hearing that he was going to be doing touring, talking to people and stuff, and he was going to have people like Chip Coffey.
Yeah, Chip was in the
You know,
middle, too.
Chip-
he was
Chip
scheduled to
was in the
appear
middle.
at one of these events of his on this
Right.
Voices of the Dead. And Chip said, people were asking, well, what's going on? And they said, well, all I know is Ryan's handling everything. I'm just a scheduled paid guest.
Right.
He's probably trying to distance
presenter.
himself from all of this now.
Well, he found
Well-
out, people said, I paid money. I already put money down. He's like, what do you mean? No one's paid any money yet. He said, yes, we did.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then he looked into it. None of the venues had been obtained to do
There was
the
one
event.
person that paid money all the way from Amsterdam.
That
came
would put-
all the way
that
from
would put him in a
Amsterdam
real
here
awkward
just to
position.
see. Yeah.
I'm sure right now he's probably like, oh my God, I got to get some distance away from
Well,
this.
if you look in the Echo Portal page, you will see the whole article and his mugshot and all the information that you need to know and everything. I'm in shock. I'm really sad that something like this in the paranormal community has to happen. That when people are trying to rip off to gain more money just because they, became a little famous and get a little drunk with money. That's really sad because
happens.
that's not what we're here for.
No, it
That's why I don't
happens,
go.
though.
It really
go,
puts
go
a bad
hunting,
name on
or if I go into somebody's home and stuff, I'm there to help people. I'm there to understand and
Help 'em
what's
out.
how things why they hear this and that. I mean, that's why I'm here. And
It puts a bad name on
I can
investigators who
understand
really are
if I
sincere
got a
about
TV
helping.
show or something like that. Yeah, I would definitely. It's my living. I have to eat and sleep and everything, but to rip off people and not to show up or
Well, a lot of
anything like
these
that is
events-
just not right.
A lot of these events are charging $250 to $350 just for a 2-day pass.
Right.
That doesn't include your room and board, food.
Nope.
It doesn't include a lot of these little
No,
extras at
no,
these events. So
no.
you could end up forking out $1,500
a lot of
for
money.
2 days.
Yeah, well, it's
And
big
that's
business
just to
right
go.
now.
That isn't even to go
Right.
hog wild.
Right,
So I don't know. I'm leery about these people charging so much for these events.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous.
It's too much. It's ridiculous.
I mean, if this is your whole bread and butter,
That I can understand. I mean, if you own the place and everything, and you got to make a living because you have property taxes, whatever, I can understand that. I still think, charging people that kind of money and then not helping them out to at least get a lodge or even feeding them, no, I don't think it's right.
Here you.
Anyhow.
What else you got?
On to the next. Now, I got a couple of stories that I caught my eye today.
We probably have time for one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've been talking.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is such big news. It's a huge news about Brian.
Yeah, that was kind of shocked by. He doesn't look too good in that picture.
Okay, you know what? How about? Well, if you get a chance, take a look at the ghost doggy. This woman who captures the ghost of a dead dog while she was she was filming it with her new puppy that she had.
She does capture it. She captures
there's a video of, you can see the
ghost, the
dog.
the little ghost paws running across the room.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Anyhow, when you get a chance to see that, go into our website, Echo Portal, and you get to see that. Now, this one is really super creepy. This I have to tell you about. It's a little girl ghost, and this happened about a few days ago on September 18, when Ryan got arrested.
No relation.
Goes back to
no
Ryan
relations. The CCTV cameras appear to capture a moment that this little girl who's standing in the middle of a road, they call it a zebra.
I was looking
and
at
a
that.
car goes right through her. Mm-hmm. And they got all the cameras, they had the monitors and everything. I think it's real. I don't think there's any photo touch-ups or whatever thing. I think this really did happen.
And they got it on 4 different cameras.
And they got it on 4 different cameras, and I think it's totally fantastic.
Yep.
They call it the middle of the zebra crossing. A car zips right through her, and this happened in Paso de la Reforma in Mexico City.
Yeah, there.
And this happened about 2:20 a.m. in the morning. If you get a chance to check it out, really check it out. I think this is the real deal. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
And the girl is really spooky.
How old does she look, and can they tell?
She looked like she's probably around 8 or 9.
So, child.
It's a full apparition of this little girl. She has dark hair. You see she's wearing a long dress that's old.
It's like a hospital dress gown almost.
Almost. I think it's...
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that one earlier.
Yeah, it's
so
pretty cool.
I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'll have to
it
take a
kind of
look
looks
at that.
like it, but no, it's a traditional. She looks Indian to me, kind of indigenous, because a lot of Indians wear a lot of these particular kind of dresses and everything. How do I know? Well, because we have Indians in our family in Mexico, so and the traditional dresses are usually white.
Do you want to do your last one?
Everything. That's the last one.
Didn't you say you had one more?
I just told about the dog ghost and, and the little girl. You said I only had 2. So those are the 2 ones I really wanted to tell everybody. I knew that Ryan was going to take up our time because,
Yeah, I'm still surprised by that.
I'm shocked.
I also thought of Lorraine Warren because he's really good friends with Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
And that must be disappointing to her, I'm sure.
Well, I'm really saddened that this happened, and I really dug. I love Paranormal State. I think it was a great show, and
it was definitely different than all the others a little bit.
Completely different. I never heard of dead time until he explained it.
Yeah.
Dead time is 3:00 in the morning. They said that's to believe that Jesus Christ died exactly at 3:00 in the morning, so they call it dead time.
That's why I quit watching the show, because it started getting too much. Turned to demons, and everything was Jesus.
Well,
and
he was
he
was battling a demon for a long time.
They use too many religious overtones in it.
The whole show does.
Yeah,
that's
really.
why I just after a while I was like,
Well, it's like Zach Bagans.
Each to his own, I guess.
Zach from Ghost Adventures.
He chases demons every week.
He's chasing demons, and he's a big believer, also. But he doesn't overly, not like Ryan did.
He isn't throwing holding crosses and throwing
he
holy
has
water.
it tattooed on him.
Maybe that's why he doesn't carry
in
any.
his back. If you ever saw, if you ever get a chance to see it, once in a blue moon, he'll take his shirt off, and what a bod! He has a huge cross in the back of his thing, and he's got crosses on his fingers too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our guest tonight is a medium and a tour guide. She does walking tours. a lot of history. She does recreations of Mrs. Lincoln. Mm-hmm. And she's a ghost hunter. Mm-hmm. She's now an author. She just finished her first book. And I believe it's available now.
I think it's her second book, hon.
No, it's her first book.
It's her first book.
Which one is it? The
It
Haunted
is
Bloomington?
Haunted Illinois?
Bloomington, Normal.
Haunted
No,
Illinois.
it's Bloomington, Illinois. I know Bloomington, Illinois very well.
Yeah. So as far as I was reading, it's her first book.
Excellent. I am so proud of
So,
her. She's also a
absolutely.
friend.
And she does reenactments, and
Yep.
she uses her mediumship in the reenactments. This
She's
is
busy.
great, really
She's
great
a
lady.
super cool
Neat lady.
lady.
Absolutely super cool. Mm-hmm. And she's going to be our guest here in just a few minutes.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited to talk with her.
So we'll have Deborah Carr-Senger. By the way, I just thought I'd mention her name since I forgot to.
Oh, we should
We're
have
just
asked
we're
us.
just setting her up,
It's Deborah Carr.
We're setting
Deborah
her
Carr.
up. So,
Deborah Carr-Senger, yeah.
She'll be on here in just a second. And we are back. Welcome back to the portal.
Welcome back.
And we have our guest who should be calling in just a minute or so, I'm assuming. Deborah Carr-Senger.
It'll be fun to talk to Deborah.
We were just discussing her and her many achievements and things I was not even aware of. So
Yeah, she does a reenactment of Helen Keller, and she also does Lucille Ball.
I didn't even know. I knew about the Lucille Ball. Helen Keller I didn't know about.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
Also, I wanted to. I was looking through my Facebook, and I was noticed Janice Oberdeen was talking about tomorrow is the anniversary death of the Constantines,
Oh, Constantine.
Deborah and her husband. His name escaped me.
Janice will be on next
Debbie and
week,
Mark
so it'll be good to
Constantine?
ask her about
Debbie
that.
and Mark Constantine. Tino.
Yeah, we'll be talking to Janice next week about them. I
Yeah, they it'll be the anniversary of their
think. And I brought the
tragic death.
Oh, you brought the book. Oh, you good.
book. I brought the book so that she could check
Yay.
it out.
Oh,
Just
oh,
make
yeah.
sure you bring it back because Janice signed it.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
It's
Yeah.
a pretty quick read, but it's very, very good.
Oh, in case
Excellent.
the listeners didn't know, Janice Oberdeen is going to be on next week.
Yes, she
Yeah.
will. And she wrote Demon Song, which is about her relationship with Mark and Debbie Constantino and the
Yeah.
whole tragedy that happened with them last year.
Yeah,
It's weird that it's been a
unfortunately,
year
it was a
almost.
suicide murder.
Yeah.
That's what happened. They had a very rocky relationship, but they were very famous in the paranormal community.
A lot on Ghost Adventures was their
A
main.
lot of ghost adventures, yeah. They were the EVP experts.
Yeah. World renowned.
World renowned. But I just want to make a mention of that because they really influenced my part of my life, about ghost hunting and, and what they did and what they did for the community and everything. And it was so tragic, and I was so saddened when I found out on TV when I heard what.
I remember when the news came out, everybody was
I was so sad and
shocked.
I was
about
shocked,
that.
and I just wanted to mention it. And
That must
there
be
she
Deb
is.
now. Hold on just a second. Hello, Deb. This is Tony. Hold on, I'll patch you in.
excuse me.
Are you there, Deb?
I am.
Hello?
Yes,
Are you there?
I'm here.
Hello?
Hello.
Can't hear her.
Can you hear me, Deb? Oh, are you there, Deb?
Yes,
I
I
never-
can hear you.
I never hit that button on the board. I didn't say that out loud. That was an inner voice.
I heard that.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi,
Hello.
Deborah.
Hi.
I'm here with Verna Wilson and Linda Walker. They're sisters. Paranormal.
Right.
Yeah, we're Facebook friends.
You know me, Deborah.
I know all about them.
Hi, Deborah. It's so good to hear your voice.
Well, thank you.
So good to have you on.
We're so excited. We got millions of questions.
Oh, boy.
We were talking about you, but it was all good, I promise.
Oh, yeah. Well, you get to an age you just don't care anymore.
That's absolutely true.
Very
too.
true.
And I noticed, as in myself, the older you get, the less you care.
Right.
All right. So you What takes up most of your time? Would you say the historic tour guide or the recreations, or both?
Actually, I also do private readings, and I also teach. So I kind of divide everything equally.
Oh, wow. So you have many hats. You don't sleep, right?
Oh, I absolutely sleep. I love to sleep.
We all need that.
Yes. So,
So
and of course, research is in there too.
Yeah, that
And
takes a lot.
And that's what I love. I limit how many private readings I do. I teach every other week. And then the tours are pretty crazy for about 6 months out of the year.
Now tell us more about your private readings, how you go about those, and then then I'd like to know a little bit more about the type of classes you do.
Okay. Well, the private readings are just that, where I have people come to my home, and the first time they get 1 hour, and I insist that they record the whole thing. And then in my price, I also include a 30-minute follow-up.
Now, is that in person, or is that over the phone, the follow-up?
Everything, well, the follow-up can be over the phone, but most of the time I prefer for it to be in person. I mean, I could spend my whole life doing phone readings, and I don't care to do that at all.
Yeah.
what do you do? Cards or?
I do everything. I have a gypsy girl party, so these girls have been trained in all kinds of avenues. But I have my own technique. I've been doing private readings for about 16 years now.
Wow.
So I have some of my secret techniques, but I do tarot. I do stone readings, but like I said, I touch hands and I read from them. I'm also a medical intuitive, so if people are open, I can scan their body for issues.
That's a rare gift, actually. I've only met a few medical intuitives in my life, and some of them were actually in the medical field, but they were medical intuitives. But it is a rare gift to have that. I know it's a mixed bag, but what type of questions do people normally ask you when they come to you? Or what do you find are the most prevalent questions?
Most of the time, they want to know about a loved one on the other side. Of course, I don't guarantee anything. And I ask them to bring questions, but we don't look at the questions until near the end of the reading. I also do spirit writing, so I write stuff down before they come.
Wow.
Usually, I just know their name. Sometimes I don't know their name. And so it's just a combination, and I tell them we let spirit speak, and I feel like whatever or whoever comes through will come through.
Do you set out to use specific tools, or do you use whatever you think's going to have the most beneficial in the reading itself?
I kind of let the reading create itself.
Okay.
Sometimes people want specifically a tarot reading or, a palm reading or something like that. So if they want something like that included, of course I go ahead and include that.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So if they have specifics, like we just want this or I want this, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But, to me, in staying very balanced in what I do, ultimately it is still, I'm the one as far as in control about how the procedure goes, even though spirit comes down and speaks through me. I think of myself more as a vessel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like a conduit from both.
So I know some people have their own people or items or Native American spirit guides that they channel through. Mm-hmm. I don't do that. I actually have the channel come through me.
That's interesting.
How old were you when this whole channeling and everything came out?
When I was born, I was the only daughter. My mom claims a white light came. She always knew I was a natural healer. I remember it too, getting dressed up putting my little pretty socks and shoes on, which, Brenda and Linda, I know you had cute little outfits like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, my sister
saw our
loves
picture.
putting those pictures.
I knew when I was being dressed like that, if I wasn't going to church, I was going over to visit somebody who wasn't well.
Right.
That's interesting.
And then to this day, people tell me, that, I'm just telling you what other people say, that I light up a room when I walk in. And I have since developed and received my Reiki mastership. But prior to that, I do crystal healing. I do healing sessions, too.
So this is an ongoing thing all your life.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Looks like you've just explored different ways to express yourself with it.
Right. I was very fortunate that I was brought up in a household that it wasn't taboo. I didn't really put a name to it. When I was 13 years old, I picked up Sylvia Brown's book, and after reading it, I told my mom, I said, well, that's a lot like me. And she said, yes, she is, but you're my daughter.
Which means a lot more.
I detect a southern accent. What part of the South are you from?
Well, I was a military brat,
Uh-huh.
so I was made in New York, born in Texas, and went to Germany before I was a year old.
Oh, wow.
And then from Germany to Florida, to Japan, to Hawaii.
Wow.
So I did not come to the South until I was 18 years old.
Cool.
And so I started out in Charleston, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
And then we moved to when I met my husband near Columbia while we were in college the first time. And then we moved a couple of times from the South to North Carolina. And I lived 18 years in North Carolina before we moved to the Midwest.
Oh, wow.
So that's
Yeah.
where you
So you landed in-
developed the accent from living in that region, that part.
Right. And every time you move in the South, there's a different regional accent.
Absolutely.
I've lived in Illinois for 9 years now, and so I do sound a little less Southern, but when I play Mary Lincoln, I kind of like to bring it out a little more.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So
Yeah.
you wind up in Illinois, and so what part of Illinois you live in?
Normal.
Normal.
Oh, Normal.
Normal.
Illinois.
And you're anything but normal.
As featured in your new book.
Yes,
Bloomington?
Haunted Bloomington, Normal, Illinois.
See? And that's available today, right?
Yes, you can either order it through me where you get an autographed copy.
Ooh, nice.
Very
And
cool.
that's through my website, www.spiritsofbloomington.com. Or if you want an ebook or a non-autographed book, you can go to Amazon and order it directly through them from Arcadia Publishing.
Cool. And I'll
Very
ask you
cool.
that at least 3 times during the broadcast
That's
tonight,
okay.
so we
That's
can plug
okay.
your book.
I have my first official book signing Friday, but
Ooh.
the book came in early, so I've been selling them like hotcakes around town.
It'd be great if you can do a book signing and come out here.
Yeah.
Then you
Oh,
can come
I
to the
would-
studio and join us one day.
Oh, I would love that. I haven't been to San Francisco for quite some time.
Well, we'd love to
so
have
I
you
would
here.
love to.
Now it's time to take a trip.
And we'll take you to some haunted
Yeah,
places
I
around
gotta
here that
meet
we
you
know
two
of.
girls in person.
I
telling y'all,
know. It'd be
it's
so
It'd be
exciting.
wonderful to see you in person.
And if you could drag Janice and Bill out, I could take you guys all out to Alcatraz for a special tour.
See, now, I have a story about Alcatraz.
Ooh, share.
Because when I was a little girl, when we were on our way to Japan, so I was probably 12 years old, we had to stop in California for my dad to do some training before we flew to Japan. So while we were in California, we visited San Francisco, and we went out to Alcatraz. So I was 12 years old.
Okay.
And when we were on the tour, now that was a long, long time ago.
I wasn't going to ask because I didn't want to be rude.
Okay, so we were with the tour group, and I've always been one of these people that kind of wander around. With me being so little, I can get away with it pretty easy.
Right.
So I kind of wandered off the tour into the cafeteria. And when I went into the cafeteria, I noticed there were prisoners in there, and they were eating their lunch. They were carrying trays back and forth. And I thought, well, this is odd, because I thought this prison wasn't open anymore.
Uh-oh.
Call a ranger.
So then I kind of got a little bit concerned, because I was a 12-year-old little girl among all these prisoners.
Wow.
And so I turned around and walked down the tour group, and then part of the tour took us back into that area, and of course there was nobody there.
Did they see
So
you at
that
all?
was-
Did the prisoners
So
actually
that was
see?
one of my first ghost experiences outside my own as a child with family members that I remember.
Wow. And did they react to you at all? The prisoners?
No, it was like I wasn't even standing there. It was like they were in a different time dimension.
Oh, okay.
What we call a residual,
Right.
possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, oh yeah. It was definitely, well, that's one thing that I've always worked well with, was residual energy.
Mm-hmm.
And in some of the police cases and stuff I worked with, that's one thing that I helped out a lot, was with residual things. Like I could actually feel where the victim was and how, for instance, she was tied up or something like that.
Which
So-
some of that stuff can obviously be really, really vital to the
Yeah.
case too.
Yeah. But I don't do that anymore. I'm having too much fun here.
Be interesting if you visit Alcatraz again and you go back there and you still see some prisoners in the cafeteria, some residual.
I was actually out there again before I surrendered to my mediumship. I owned a travel agency, so I traveled a great deal, took people around the world, was
Nice.
fascinated with ghost walks. That's how I met Janice. And so I have been to Alcatraz since then. When I was in Alcatraz, what I noticed is as I was climbing up the hill, I started breathing very heavy, and it was almost like a man was within me, walking within me up that hill.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
channeling is something that I do quite often now. And in fact, my PhD dissertation has been accepted. I just got to get it done, and channeling as an alternate form of communication.
Wow. Very cool. Congratulations there.
And during a lot of our investigations, I do ask people. I'm kind of drawn to certain people, like they light up like a Christmas tree. And I privately ask them if we can channel through them. And some people don't want to, but those that are willing, then sometimes that's part of our investigation session.
Wow.
Nice.
Very cool.
That's interesting. So you never know really who, depending upon who you're with and what your outcome might be.
Right.
Interesting.
So,
I've not
but
heard
I'm
that.
also very fortunate where I have an excellent investigation team. They are just amazing. The book could not have been written without them.
Very cool.
The book could not have been written without my cynical partner, my business partner, not my husband.
I thought that was...
And of course, the people that have invited us into their businesses, their homes, and just allowed us to explore what we can. Now, I do what's called a medium-based investigation. And so what that means is there is a lead investigator. Most of the time it's me, because after all this time, they usually call me first, or I make the contact first. My team does not know where they're going.
Oh.
In fact, if we're going to a historical place, we will cover up names and such, to not give them any clues. I encourage them to do spirit writing the night before. And within the team, we have everything from cynical people to people who, I mean, everybody is individually gifted, but we have all kinds of wonderful talent.
Wow.
And so when we get to the spot, we introduce ourselves to the owner, administrator, or whomever. We take time to walk around individually and record our medium impressions and locate what we call hot spots. And then we come together. In advance, we have sent the owner or administrator a form to fill out that asks for historical stuff, that type of thing, and what experiences they had. And then we sit down and let the medium share their impressions and compare it to what happened to the person or persons and what history has revealed.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's just it still amazes me what we uncover. I mean, you're going to find this in this book where things happen. And,
Oh, cool.
And sometimes it takes years to bring it all together. And other times it takes just an overnight for all the answers to come.
Right.
Very cool. Deb, can you hold on just a sec? We're going to do a quick station break.
Sure.
Station identification, and we're going to come right back. So if you hang tight with us, be a little bit of music after the break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
They're here.
And we are back. Deb, are you still with us?
I am here.
There you go. We had a little gospel moment there with Lord Release Me.
Yes.
Flailing their hands and everything. Praise the Lord.
I was right there with you.
All right. Yeah, the
In
energy.
spirit, love.
We're channeling. So, with your book, what does your book cover? I guess that's a good question.
The cover picture is that of the McLean County Museum of History, and to the left side of it is the Cruising with Lincoln on Route 66 Museum and gift shop.
And overall, what does the book itself contain?
It contains mostly, it actually follows Route 66 too, because that's very popular. Route 66 still has the most drivable roads in Illinois.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of we start out in Funk's Grove, which is just south of Bloomington, and we talk about that. It was one of the Funks were some of the original settlers in the area, and they have an old church and a home, and there has been sightings of maybe Bigfoot there.
Oh, wow.
Then we continue on into Bloomington, and we take you by Evergreen Memorial Cemetery, which this year we are premiering Ghost Walks and Investigations in. And then we do the Eagles Club, and then we actually bring you into town and walk you around like you're on our Ghost Walk.
Wow. Very cool.
And then we continue nearby Route 66 to take in some mansions and such before we hit the Normal area.
Wow.
Now, this area is very rich in history, beginning with the Native Americans. Then the farmers came through. A lot of them stayed here on their way to California or Oregon. They either ran out of money or they were enticed by the rich black earth here. So farmers are still a big thing here in the county. Mm-hmm. You know, we have corn and soy everywhere.
Wow.
And then the area was picked as the county seat. So with that being done, Abraham Lincoln came into town in 1837, right after he got certified as an attorney. And he was in and out of this area for almost 20 years before he won the presidency. Mm-hmm. So many of his friends were here in town. And then with that, we have Route 66 and the gangsters and Al Capone. So this area is just amazing in how it's so rich, following the timeline of America.
Wow. So your book covers quite a bit then.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
do you cover like all the hauntings as you go along, or different areas, or?
Yes, and what experiences. When you work with Arcadia History Press, this is part of the Haunted America series, they want a lot of history in here, too. So we combine history with the myths, with the hearsays, and then with the ghost experiences, some with my team, and some where other people have told us or written to us or shared with us their own paranormal experiences.
Oh, that's cool. So just a good mix of everything, which, of course,
Yes.
ghost hunting and history runs hand in hand anyway, usually.
Absolutely. I've always called myself a historic ghost investigator.
I think that, to me, that's more impressive when people say it that way than say, I'm just a ghost hunter. Because you know that history is a good way to find what you're looking for.
Right.
And if you
Was a big part.
You do your homework. Let's face it.
It is a
literally.
much better term. I like that.
I've
And
been
it's
to
also really, really cool with a medium type investigation. We have history to compare it to. We were recently in a location in Uptown Normal, and we got the impression of like water rushing through the store.
Oh, wow.
And what had happened is the city people about 10 years ago were working outside, and they were pumping all this water in the ground, and it flushed right through the store.
Oh, no.
Wow.
So, just simple stuff like that is really cool where the impressions are confirmed. Now, that's not so historical, but that's a good example.
Uh-huh. But it's
Yeah.
still an incident that happened, so it is historical, kind of.
Right. Now, for about 5 years, one of our main focuses was the New Phoenix, eventually named the Mid-City Hotel. It was originally opened in 1902. Now, Janice Oberdeen has been here, and my cousin Paula. And as the hotel progressed through the years, it began as a European-style businessman's hotel. It became a rehabilitation during the wars, and it eventually became a men's-only retirement hotel.
Wow.
So we had some incredible investigations. John Zaffis was actually here, and we took him into the prostitute room. And now the hotel, 2 years ago, we were kicked out, fondly, of course. And it's now been developed, and you can rent, they've converted it to loft, and you can rent the loft now.
Oh, wow.
So what we love is where we've had the opportunity to see this historic building and enjoy it, and now it's been developed.
wow.
And then the ghosts inside there were all identified through the years except one.
Huh.
And
And
as
why-
I was
why
writing the
except
book,
one?
and we were invited to do another investigation in Uptown Normal area, well, to make it, the story became full circle, which is revealed in the Eagles Club chapter.
Oh, you
Okay.
got to buy the book, folks.
I know. I'm not going to give away all the stories. It's
Absolutely. You
too
got
long
it.
to write it and make it happen.
Exactly. So that's the cliffhanger. If you want to find out, you have to buy the book.
So, we're real cynical. We don't believe in that stuff at all. I said, well, then just read it for the entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is amazing the history that's right in this area, and also the entertaining stories. One of the most famous men here in town was the most hated, and really until we brought his name to light, his statue was shoved down the hallway at the museum. But if not for him, Bloomington would never be what it is today, and that's Ashel Grissom. And
No.
he was actually one of the big financiers for Abraham Lincoln's run for the presidency. And it was recently uncovered where just at one time he gave Lincoln over $100,000.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's a lot of money back then.
Especially then.
Yeah. Yep. So there's some very interesting characters that lived here.
Speaking of interesting characters, you do some of your own, do you not? Recreations?
Yes, I do. I actually say that Mary Lincoln brought me here.
Really?
Tell us
I
that
had no
story.
intention of moving to Bloomington-Normal at all. We left North Carolina to move to St. Louis, where our only son and his wife were going to have their first baby, and we didn't want to be long-distance grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing led to another, where Tom, my husband, got a really good job offer in Bloomington. And as you guys know, I went to a lot of paranormal conferences, and so I was kind of booked up for 6 months to a year. So I was going to stay in our St. Louis home, and he was going to work here 4 nights a week in a bed and breakfast. And so I came up with him to Steve Bloomington, and the owner of the bed and breakfast. We were talking at breakfast, and I asked him if there was any ghost walk in town, because I had produced a ghost walk in North Carolina, and I had critiqued many of them and gone on many of them. And he said no, but he and his wife had thought about doing that. So one thing led to another, and as a spiritual medium, if opportunity presents itself, you are supposed to help. And I said, well, maybe I can help you put that together. And that was in December of 2007. And as I was leaving his bed and breakfast, I looked back at him and I said, I don't want you to take this wrong, but you kind of look like Abraham Lincoln if you were to grow a beard. So,
how did he take that?
Well, he said goodbye, and so I came back about a month later. Tom was working up here, and I talked. His name is Chris, and I talked to him. I said, "So, are you really serious about putting together a ghost walk?" And he said yes. So we started going around town, and I said, "Well, I know that place is haunted, and I know that place is haunted. And oh my goodness, we need to meet this." So we started putting together the ghost walk, and I really had no intention of even helping him with it. And then as we were leaving that time, he says, well, I don't want to have you take this wrong. He says, but you look an awful lot like Mary Lincoln. And when I got home, I started looking at all my research stuff. Now, at the time, I had blonde hair, but with brown hair and blue eyes, and I did look an awful lot like her. So that was the beginning of our Lincoln Legends and Lore Ghost Walk.
Wow.
Very cool.
And since that time, we've played them in presentations and in plays and ghost walks. I do a lot of her on my own now. I recently was in Omaha trying to... The Lions clubs are having their 100th anniversary in Chicago, so I was selling the crowd there on Illinois, being represented as Mary Lincoln. But I do believe she channels through me. When I get dressed as her, people will tell me that when I have my costuming on, I don't look like myself. I sound like her. And so I feel like I'm very honored. She does speak to me.
Wow.
Now, the second most important person that I portray is Helen Keller. And I started playing her 4 years ago. I do extensive research. I mean, for Mary Lincoln and the Lincolns, I traveled their whole route from Kentucky to Illinois. For Helen Keller, I went to her hometown in Alabama. And when I did Helen Keller for the first time, I did not have an ending to the presentation. And I was dressed as her, driving over there, and I said, okay, Helen, you need to come through and give me the ending for this talk. And I could feel her energy surging through me, and I knew exactly what to say.
Wow.
And what really makes the story special, in 1925, she challenged the Lions to be her Knights for the Blind, which started their work with the blind. And when my grandmother died, my dad's mother died, I received a dress from her. And all the times I had moved, I kept carrying the dress. And I finally opened the box to the dress, and it was my grandmother's dark blue wedding dress, a flapper dress from 1925, the same year that Helen Keller gave that talk.
Wow.
So I had the dress redone because a lot of it was, rotted away.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was bigger than me, and I usually play Helen Keller in that dress.
Wow.
So how about that?
That's incredible.
That's pretty cool.
That's authentic.
Now, when I was doing research for the book, I was up in the McLean County Library, and I had purchased some pictures for the book. And when I was looking through the photos, I came across a photo of a corn palace. And that flooded a memory through me that I had completely forgotten. When I was a little girl in Florida, I was doing research, I believe, on Abraham Lincoln or Illinois, and I came across this same picture when I was a little girl of a corn palace in Bloomington, Illinois.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, now how cool is that? Like Hansel and Gretel, you know?
That's
and so I kind of tucked it away in my memory. When I first became a travel agent, I looked to see where Bloomington, Illinois was to maybe visit the Corn Palace. And at the time, there was no airport here. The closest airport was like Chicago or St. Louis. And I said, well, I'll never get there. So when I was going through the photos, all this came through me. Wow. And what I didn't know at the time is the Corn Palace had been torn down right around the time that I found the picture. So even if I had traveled here, it would not have been standing. And here, I guess I was meant to come to Bloomington all along.
Wow.
It is amazing how many things happen in your life where you feel like you come full circle with memories from the past.
It's just like little threads that you're not aware of that all lead.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what happened
now?
now?
We live in a historic home, and the owner who passed away, he picked us to buy the house.
Really?
Yes.
Did you buy the house?
I was going to say he picked you in past tense, right? Or he picked you before he passed away?
He was dead when he picked us.
Okay, I was going to say he picked you and then passed away. You should live here. Goodbye.
Well, he kind of said that when I was upstairs. Mm-hmm. It's a two-story 1911. We were upstairs. I was upstairs, and it has a upstairs screen porch. Mm-hmm. And as I was looking out at the screen porch, I felt this energy kind of lean into me, like somebody leaning in. Uh-huh. And then I felt somebody's kind of mouth on my ear, and I could hear him say, make a damn offer. And he says, awesome. You've never backed away from anything you've ever wanted. Make a damn offer. So that was how it all began.
Very cool. And you
told
made
me
an
a lot
offer,
about
right?
your house and all of your pets in there, and you really made it into a lovely home.
That's
yes,
awesome.
I did have offices over at the Soldiers and Sailors homes. I had 2 offices over in that area, and that's also in the book. It got started in 1865 for the orphans from the Civil War from the state of Illinois, and it has been developed, and it is a chapter in the book. But then when our home got ready, I now use this as my main office for teaching and for seances and for Gypsy Girl parties and private readings.
That I would love to go.
That would be very cool. That would be fun, actually.
In Illinois, have you been to other places in Illinois? Now, our grandmother, Verna and I, our grandmother is from Decatur originally.
Right.
And
believe it or not, I haven't. I mean, I've been to Lincoln, Illinois. We did a
Right.
ghost walk, a couple of ghost walks there.
Uh-huh.
I've played a character from Route 66, Blossom Hudson, who lived there. But I have been so busy just in what I do here. And if I ever leave here, I go on vacation somewhere completely different.
Wow.
She has to sleep at least 2
Or I
hours a night.
travel with Janice a lot.
Well,
you
Decatur
know?
is right next to Bloomington. Because
Yeah.
I know you have to go over the big hill, and there's a stench you have to get over because there's this cannery. I'm
Right.
serious. The
Well,
first time I went over to
recently,
Decatur, I'm like,
when
what
she was in town-
what is that? You know. But I've been to Bloomington, Illinois, and fortunately, I stayed at a trailer park kind of place, middle of the cornfield. That was a lot of fun. And the summertime
we
for
do
a
have
month.
it.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend who her family lived there, and that was a lot of fun. And I went into town, and I went into the cemetery. This was like back in 1980. Shush, not 02, you smartass. Tony picks on me a lot. I think it was back in 1981, 82, somewhere. No, 82. I was in England.
I was 4.
Yeah, well, you were just a baby, but anyhow, yeah, it's a beautiful town. I mean, it's just so old, and I at the time I wasn't really thinking of ghosts or anything like that, but I love cemeteries, and yeah, woo.
Well, the Evergreen Memorial Cemetery is so beautiful.
It's gorgeous. We used to go over there with my friends, and we used to drink beer, and of
course.
pot. But
Okay.
but that's what we did. I mean, there's not much you can do in Bloomington, Illinois, especially when you're a young person.
Not anymore.
I'm sure it's
you would
changed.
not recognize it. Just about every restaurant and every shop and everything is here. So it's quite amazing now what you can do in Bloomington-Normal.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of the cemetery, when you were there, did you experience the wrinkle in time?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Every time I walk into a cemetery, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I'm always feeling something there, something hanging around us. I mean, and sometimes I saw shadows or something. But, that's what happens when you drink spirits, too. But, yeah, I mean, I just felt something. I've always felt presence of spirits and everything since I was a little girl. So, yeah, it didn't bother me as much, but it's
never bothered me.
No.
Deb, can you hang on? We're going to do one last quick break.
Sure.
And then come back and talk some more.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Stay right there.
Don't leave
All
us.
Okay, that was Ghost Meets Ghoul by Milton DeLuge and his orchestra, and Stand By Me by Ben King and the Drifters, and of course we finished with Moon River, a little gossip music for you.
Gossip music. I corrected that. I put gospel.
Deborah, Deborah, you still there?
I'm here.
And we're not even drinking.
I know.
I know. We don't have to drink, right?
That's
Right.
You got it. Although little spirits would be
Little spirits will
A little bit of spirits. Always gets things going.
a glass of red would be okay right now.
I got a bottle
that
in my
sounds good,
canvas bag right now.
Oh.
When I get home, I'm going to have a little glass of wine.
Almond flavored champagne the other night.
Ooh, how was
Ooh,
that?
that sounds good.
It's really good. I wish I could remember the brand, but it was really
It
good.
must have been good. She can't remember the brand.
You must have. Yeah, you must have had quite a few glasses of that.
No, just one tall one.
A tall one. That's okay.
Verna's got some questions for you.
Yes.
Okay, I want to find out about your process in getting into your personalities when you're doing your reenactments. especially with Helen Keller. Now, Helen Keller, as we all know, she was blind, deaf, and she couldn't speak. So you had to study her, and you had to study how she saw the world and how she felt the world. How did you end up, how does it feel when you become her? How do you see the world?
I am her. As I put the clothes on, I really truly believe that when I become her, and I am more her than I am myself. One of the greatest compliments, last year I appeared in front of a USA-Canada audience, a huge audience, and one of the nicest compliments was, "Is that lady up there blind?"
That's a compliment, especially when you're really her.
Right.
Now, when you are feeling the audience and you're feeling people and you're her, how does it differ than a regular person who sees and hears and talks?
Well, she felt the audience through her feet, through vibrations. And I feel when I am getting ready to speak. Now, she did speak a little bit. Her lifelong challenge was to try to speak normally. And when I present her voice is very difficult to understand. So oftentimes I will start out by speaking like her and then going into what I thought she would sound like if she had had a normal speaking voice. Because her greatest wish was not to see or hear again, but to speak clearly.
You've heard some recordings of her voice, correct?
Yes, she actually made an Academy Award-winning movie.
Yeah, that's the one with Sally Fields.
I've
no,
actually,
Patty Duke.
No.
I remember that movie.
No, not with Sally Fields. That was award-winning too. No, as Helen Keller herself.
Oh, really? What year was this?
I don't remember exactly, but it's all on YouTube.
Is this the Anne?
Wow, I gotta see that.
Is this the Anne Bancroft? With her.
Yeah.
There's Helen Keller in it.
I've seen that video.
Oh,
My life
I haven't
story.
seen that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And I actually feel her vibrate through my body, where I feel completely different when I'm portraying her and being myself or being Mary Lincoln. And it's like this vibration comes through me because her connection with the world was through feeling and smell. And touch was so important. So I feel this vibration as it comes through me when I become her.
Wow.
Now, what was interesting is when I was asked to portray her, they wanted me to just walk up on stage and start talking. And I said, "Oh, no, I can't do that. I'm Helen Keller. She can't see or hear." Exactly. And so I insisted on being led up on stage just like Helen Keller would have been.
Wow.
So I try to stay very true to the type of person they are. Now, there is no way that I could ever equal a Helen Keller, but I do know by her visits with me that she's very pleased with what I do.
Very cool.
Well, I think it's
Yeah.
good
It's very
just to
cool.
show people. I mean, this is what it was like. This was life for me, and with all my obstacles, these are the things I had to overcome to have a life.
Well, with today's technology, of course, she had such a brilliant life in the past with her limited tools. I can't imagine her growing up in today's world. She would not even be handicapped at all. But, she never really considered herself to be handicapped at all.
And she had that very patient nurse who worked with her when she was a
And
child.
she had a great sense of humor. She had a love of animals. Yeah.
You just reminded me
I
of...
really like her. And she had a fiance that was driven away.
Really?
How was he driven away?
Well, one time when she was in need of a secretary because Teacher was away and Polly was away, and I think Teacher had to go to Puerto Rico because she had a lot of health issues. So they hired Peter Fagan, who was a political activist, to be her secretary. And they fell in love. And they intended on getting married. And when they were applying for a marriage license, a reporter saw them and wrote about it in the paper. And when her mom saw that, her brother basically led Peter Sagan away by gunpoint.
Oh, poor Helen.
Horrible.
How
They
sad.
sent her back to Alabama, and it was rumored that he was going to come and rescue her and run away with her. Now, nobody knows exactly what happened. According to her museum, she did stay up all night with her suitcase waiting for him to come, and he never came.
So sad.
That's really sad.
And many people said he kind of disappeared off the face of the earth, so there was some, what really happened to him type thing.
Interesting.
But later on, when I was doing research, he did live on. He wasn't killed off, and he did marry and have children. And on his deathbed, he showed his daughter a picture of Helen Keller and told his daughter that she was the true love of his life.
Aww.
So, but see,
That's
during
an
that
aw
time,
story.
he was making all kinds of money and, called the cash cow for the family.
Yeah.
She must have been so lonely after that to have
Well,
that happen.
she always had, Anne with her, and Polly with her took over. She was very rarely alone, but if you look at some of her sayings, they take on a very sadness about it, and that's what happened after she and Peter broke up.
Wow, I had no idea.
Wow.
Well, see, in those days, if a woman married, she was expected to quit her career and simply become a housewife.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's wow.
So,
That's sad, though.
It's very
just personal
sad.
stories like that is what I like, where you make them more real.
Yeah.
And, of course, you can say the paparazzi kind of ruined her future.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. But
And also
on the other
misunderstanding
hand,
relatives,
people
too.
from Japan absolutely adored her. And she was the first American that was asked back to Japan after Hiroshima. And she actually stood at the bombing site.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Very powerful woman. And do you know that she communicated by typing on her manual typewriter?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She
That's
must
a
have
lot
been
of
able
work.
to memorize the keys and really
Yeah.
worked on
I mean,
that,
she did
yeah.
it since she was young. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we
So
got
see,
about
that's what I love about playing these characters. You just get to know them. Now, one time, my business partner doesn't play Lincoln much anymore. He does occasionally for special people, special events. But when we played him quite often, he remarked to me one evening that I kept putting my hand on his forehead. And I said, I do not. He says, you do too. He says, the next time you do that, I'm going to grab your hand. So at the next presentation, unbeknownst to me, he grabbed my hand because the back of my palm was on his forehead.
wow.
And what we found out when their first son died, Eddie died when they were still in Springfield. After that time, it was her habit to feel the foreheads of everybody to see if they were running a fever.
Interesting.
Wow. Huh.
So that was something I was not aware of, and by channeling her, she showed me that that gesture that she used through the years.
Just checking your temperature. It's okay.
Well,
she used to do you didn't
unfortunately,
know about,
she
but you
lost
find-
the second son, then her husband, then the third son. So some of her fears were indeed very true.
So we got about 5 minutes left. Let's talk about your book again.
Okay.
What's the name of the book
Haunted
again?
Bloomington, Normal, Illinois, but it's all American. You've got gangsters, you've got Lincoln, and you've got a medium with her team, and you've got some incredible investigations and myths and stories. www.spiritsofbloomington.com. If you order it through that, I will mail you an autographed copy. Or if you prefer an ebook or a non-autographed copy, you can also order it through Amazon.
And is there a Facebook page at all?
My Facebook page is Haunted Bloomington-NORMAL, and it talks about the book, but it also talks about tours coming up. I kind of combine the two together.
Speaking of which, do you have any big events coming up for Halloween?
Absolutely. Last year we premiered the first annual Haunted Tales, and last year we were in Haunted Homes, and this year it's the second annual Haunted Tales, and we're inside Evergreen Memorial Cemetery visiting immortal homes.
Fun.
And that's October 23rd and October 30th. And what's really cool is you get 2 tours in one. We have a team of our Ghostbuster girls, ghost hunting girls, that take you on an equipment investigation on one side of the cemetery to help answer some of the mystery questions that are buried deep in the graves.
Nice.
And then the second tour is the Psychic and the Cynic, where we take you on another part of the cemetery where we ask you to use your cynical mind or your sensitive mind to help share some of the answers we're still trying to find out.
Very cool. Now, do they go to the same website to look at the tours, or is that a different one?
Yep, the same website has
Okay.
our calendar of events,
Awesome.
and you can pop on that, and you can order your tickets right there.
And they
Now,
can
the
they get a
book
hold of you
order
on
from the homepage.
Can they get a hold of you on the website as well?
Yes, you can send an email through me through the website. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. So if you want to check out Deb's book and buy a copy, and you'll find out a little bit more information that she teased at earlier tonight. Find out all
Yes.
the answers.
All the
And
stories.
the foreword was done by Janice Oberdeen.
Janice Oberdeen. I heard of her.
Really?
Very cool.
And,
Your best
she's
buddy.
coming out, gosh, I hope I'm right, with her 27th book.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And so I'm real excited. You know, she has been a great inspiration. We finally figured out the other day that we've known each other because we could never remember, because it seems forever, for about 14 years.
Wow.
That's
Long
excellent.
time.
That's very
And
cool.
she always told me I was going to write a book, so I finally did it. So she's extremely proud of me.
Yay.
Yay.
We love Janice.
Yeah, Jen's
Yeah, and
cool.
she was extremely instrumental in helping me even get started.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yep.
Authors helping authors. I love it.
Yes.
Gotta support
Well, that's
each
the
other.
way it should be. Everybody should support everybody in the
Absolutely.
paranormal community. Absolutely.
I totally agree. Well, we want to thank you for being on the show tonight.
Yes, it's been
My
great.
pleasure.
And I'm going to go home and order your book when I get home, so.
Oh no.
Oh, I want to read it now.
I'd like to take a look at
So
it.
good. I hope I didn't give anything away.
No, you
No,
didn't.
you were
No.
fine.
You were good. Just perfect.
When I went by earlier today, make a nail appointment, I sold 2 books there. When we went back tonight to get our nails done, the girl was like on chapter 5.
Oh,
All right.
That's great.
so she can't put it down. That's a good
Real
sign.
good.
You could be
Yay.
walking down Bloomington and everybody would be with a book in their hands reading it.
Right.
Very
That's
cool.
So
excellent.
thank you guys for inviting me. It was so nice to talk.
It was
with
great
Tony.
having
You
you.
are the most wonderful guest. We'd love to have you back.
And I
again.
want to see you soon because I know Janice mentioned something about possibly doing a road trip down your direction. And I
Well,
know
we actually did one in June.
she mentioned another one about going down to visit you, and she told me and Jackie, you guys should come with us.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
Bring your thrift money. I know you girls go to the thrift shops a lot.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, my gosh. We can tear up some. And now that Janice and I are the same size, of course, she's a glitter queen, not me.
I was
Oh,
gonna
she is
say-
a total glitter
I can
queen.
see
If
that.
there's glitter to be
Total
had, Janice
glitter.
will get it.
Queen. So now that we're the same size, it's really interesting because we kind of decide who should get what.
Oh, I didn't think
boy.
about that. Before it'd be like, you get this and I'll get this. Like, I want that. No, I want that. I feel it more, Janice.
You can use that excuse.
So we love to travel together. We have a good time. And for those who followed us, we had a video blog most every night.
I love that.
I love the
Yeah, we
video
saw
blog.
that.
I saw that.
Very
I
fun.
even had fan mail. This one guy says, I just have to let you know that I really love you.
That's awesome. I hope you bought your book. It's available.
I don't know. He hasn't bought it yet. So wherever you are, you need to buy my book.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
She'll autograph it even. Personally.
Well, we love you a whole lot. I mean,
do,
it's just such an
absolutely.
honor to finally
It's so
talk to
great
you
to
in
talk to you,
person,
Deborah.
And I hope to see you in the future in person.
Yeah, we hope you come to the studio someday.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
I wanna go shopping with you.
Oh, gosh, that would be
We go to
fun.
Monterey, and you guys aren't too far away.
That's
so.
true.
Oh, not
That's
at all.
That's true.
Yeah.
Sounds
That's
good.
true.
All right. Well,
Okay, well, thanks again, and throw it all over because I need the money because I have a couple paintings I want to buy.
perfect.
Great.
Will do.
From some really great local artists here in town that have supported me.
Yay,
All right.
That's
Yay.
cool.
That's great.
In fact, both of them are mentioned in the book.
Ooh, but you have to buy the book to find it.
Well,
Right.
actually, one of them is a chapter in the book, and so far, it's the favorite chapter in the book.
Yay.
Yay.
Awesome.
And it's Herb Eaton's studio and art gallery.
Very cool.
So cool.
So,
All
all
right.
right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay,
Good night,
Thanks,
Jen.
Deb.
Good night, Deborah.
Happy haunting.
Thank you too.
same to you.
Pleasant
You too.
dreams.
Pleasant dreams.
Okay, bye.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.
Okay, guys, and I think that's it. Next week, Janice Overding will be on.
And she is going to be just as fun.
Oh, she
as,
will be.
It'll be great
Yeah.
having
The
Janice
Glitter
on.
Queen will
The
be
Glitter
with us.
Queen, yeah. She's really a very special woman.
So until then, let me take another trip into the Ecto portal.
Good night.
Good night. Sleep soundly.
Mommy.
Royalty-free, copyright-free music by Kevin MacLeod and Ross Bugden. Be sure to visit us at www.ectoportal.com. Check out our archives on YouTube and head on over for new episodes to ectoportal.podbean.com.